So if you're getting this video, it's either because you're interested in the Wolf Pup Mentorship program or I want you to be interested, right? So for the Wolf Pup Mentorship program, I just want to tell you a little bit about who I am and what I do. Okay, so I'm a life coach. I'm based out of Farmington, New Mexico. I launched my company a couple months ago, and I have the unique opportunity to rub shoulders constantly with other coaches, right? I'm part of this group of coaches, and what they do is they teach. A lot of these guys coach these huge companies. They coach very successful people, athletes, entrepreneurs, and I'm kind of the new guy, so I get to ask a lot of questions, right? I'm very curious about what they do, what they teach, how they do it. And the cool thing about this group that I'm a part of is everybody is so willing to share, right? And to help me out and to help me understand these things and to learn these principles and not only apply them to my life, but apply them to my client's life. And as I was going through this and as I'm working with people and working with my clientele, I've seen how much it's affected my children. It's affected my children. And one of the biggest things is all this information. You gotta teach it in a way where a a child could understand it, right? Not saying that children are dumb or whatever. I'm just saying, like, you got to simplify it to the point where you cannot be misunderstood, right? And so these things, I've been able to develop a program that's going to benefit children, right? It's going to benefit kids so that they can understand these things, and as they're in this stage in their life where they're like little sponges, we're going to give them, I'm going to, through this mentorship program, I'm going to give them tools and I'm going to give them training on how to develop their mind, on how to have good communication skills, on how to have, really powerful relationships with those around them, and relationships with themselves, right? And how to understand how their mind works and how to apply it into the real world. So that's what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of a training, kind of like a tidbit on how we're going to start off the class and the program. And I will give you more information as we go. Okay, so the focus of the mentorship program is we are going to focus on mindset, personal development, communication, and deeper relationships. Okay, now this class is very interactive, right? I'm going to be asking people questions. I'm going to be getting, interaction from the students, right? It's not like I'm up here preaching and they're just going to sit quiet, right? I want them to be very active in the class, right? And I'm going to be asking them questions. I'm going to get their mind thinking. I'm going to want them to bring notebooks, pen and paper. We're going to write stuff down. We're going to take notes, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, let me ask you this, okay? Since we're interacting, out of the mindset, personal development, communication, and deeper relationships, what is the most important thing that is going to affect? So out of the four, what is the most important out of the four that is going to most affect the mindset, personal development, communication, and deeper relationships? What do you guys think? I want you to scoot over. So what I've learned is communication. Communication is what is going to, so if you can master communication, it's going to affect the mindset, personal development, how you interact with people, communicate with people, and then your deeper relationship. So communication is so important, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach the children how to master the art of speaking human, right? How to speak human. That's an art that's being lost in today's day and age. Okay. Now let me explain to you why communication is the most important. Okay. So why effective communication is so important for your mindset and your personal development. Let's start there. Okay. So your mindset. Effective communication isn't just the words that we speak to other people, right? First, it affects how we communicate with ourselves, right? Our inner dialogue, our mindset, the things that we choose to tell ourselves or that we allow to occupy our brains, right? And so we're communicating, if we have a negative mindset, we're communicating negative thoughts, negative emotions, and negative dialogue, right? It's all communication. Now, and I'm going to teach them tricks on how to move from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. And it's a full class. I'm not going to get into it right now, but what they need to understand, the most important thing about effective communication is communication internally, externally, whatever. There's a currency, right? Which means that there's something that you have, right? And you're transferring energy, and there's a currency to determine how effective your communication is going to be, right? It's like money, right? Let's say you want to buy stuff and you need money to buy it, right? So let's say for effective communication, there's a currency that you need to spend. That currency is trust. Okay? Trust. Let me explain that. If you do not have trust with yourself, right, in your mental state, or if the people that you're trying to communicate with do not have trust in you, you cannot be an effective communicator, right? Because if you're going to tell somebody something, hey, I'm going to do this, or I know this, or how about this? If the person doesn't trust you or doesn't have trust in you, then it's only going to go so far, right? It's not going to be effective anymore. Trust is very important. So when we tell ourselves we're going to do something and we don't do it, and if we tell somebody else that we're going to do something and we don't do it, it affects our communication. It affects our mindset. It affects our personal development. It affects communication, of course, and our relationships with people, right? So trust, building trust and having integrity is the foundation of this program, right? I'm going to teach the children that in order for them to be effective in all aspects of their life, it all begins with trust and it begins with integrity. We're going to meet once a week, every Saturday, 4 p.m. at the San Juan College. Okay, I got a room for us. I'm renting a room every week. And what you guys do is we'll show up. We got a group of kids, and I want parents to come as well. And we're all going to gather and do these things once a week. It's going to last anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. Okay. And the way the pricing works is I do charge $60 per kid. If you got multiple kids in a family, I do $60. And then if you got a second, like a sibling enrolled, then it's going to $40 per kid after that. So let's say you got 4 kids at 60, 40, 40, 40. Okay. And first class is free. Okay. I want you guys to show up. If you guys are on the fence, if you're getting this, you're like, oh, I don't know. Bring your kid anyway. Okay. Bring your kid. The more the merrier. Okay. First class is on me. And then after that, if you decide that you want to continue this, then you're more than welcome and we could talk about it. Okay. Now, as far as how long it's going to take, my goal is to do this every Saturday for the next 6 months, right? Because these principles, it takes time, right? To develop these habits, to develop these things. Like me, my positive mindset, it's funny, I've learned these things my whole life. And as I started to apply it really to my business and to my life, it has taken time, right? It's not something that I learned and then I'm like, oh, that's cool, and it changed my life. It took a lot of time and a lot of hard work to get to where I am now. And I still have so much more to go, right? And so it takes months of interaction, right? And I don't want them to show up and me just like give them all this information and then send them on their way, right? I want to do it in a way where they have things that they can work on, right? The tools that they can use. And as parents as well, like where, let's say something's going on, little Johnny, he's like having a meltdown and freaking out, and he's in this negative mindset. He's projecting all this negative energy and stuff. You're like, hey, as a parent, you could be like, hey, remember what Coach Jake told you about this? Maybe, take some deep breaths or whatever. You know what I mean? I want them to use these tools, and I want the parents to know these things too, so that they can help remind their kids, right? So it's more effective, and that's how it works. All right, guys. Now, as far as the age group goes, I've given this a lot of thought. 8 years old, all the way to 18. Okay. Eventually, I want to do 2 groups. Where I do 8 to 14 and then 14 to 18, right? But I'm not quite there yet. The kids that are enrolled right now, the majority of what I have for the first class, a majority is below 14, okay? But 8-year-olds, I think, will be able to learn from this, okay? So 8 and up are the age groups. If you do have smaller kids that are mature and you want to bring, I'm not against that, but I think like once kids reach 8 years old, they have the ability to learn these things, right? And I could be wrong. Maybe it's sooner. I don't know. It's just in my experience. So if you have an 8-year-old all the way up to an 18-year-old.